It's the whole part again, isn't it, when you got to try and figure out how to fucking turn that bit off. But if I'm not on there then? Am I on there then? Oh yeah, I am. Look, there I am. There you go. Look, there you go. That was better timing than normal, wasn't it? I wonder if you can hear me there. Hear me now. Hear me now. Hear me now. Hear me now. So I wasn't going to do this tonight at all because I'm too busy, right? But someone said to me, he didn't say it to me, I didn't even read the rest of his messages actually. That's what I thought. It's just what I thought at the time. I was like, oh. So I should be doing more. What would I be saying to someone else? What would I be saying to someone else who needs to be doing, needs to be like sort of self-caring? I thought to myself, what do you do to care for yourself? You don't do much. So you're going to have to do something. So I thought to myself, yeah, why don't I just do what I enjoy doing? And that's talking into nobody, talking into this, nobody right there in front of me, just because it makes me feel better, just because that reason. Now, I wonder if you can hear me. That's the problem. I'm always fearful that I might be talking to nobody and ultimately nobody can hear me. That's always the scary part. But then if I turn that off, I know I can hear me. That's good. And plus there's always the subtitles, isn't there? That's always good. So there you go. So where are we at? Where are we at indeed? Right, let me think. Right, so where was it? So this has been a crazy, crazy, crazy week. And some of you are going to be looking at this and thinking, saying to yourselves, oh, why is he doing this? He could be doing my writing, he could be doing this, he could be doing that. He's not returned my call, he's done blah, blah, blah. Well, this, I'm afraid, is my little like safe haven, my little bit of like, I work till late. In fact, I do about 21 hours a day. Not because I feel I have to, or because I'm overworked, but just because I want to, and because it keeps me. It's my purpose. Really, I can't say any more than that. And I think when it's like that, it just doesn't. Nothing feels like work. It just feels like it's just what I do. So in that time, in that time when you need to get sort of you time, when you don't really get much you time, but my time is your time, so to speak. Does that make sense? My time is your time. It really is, because I sort of do devote my time to everyone who I work for. So that's cool. That's they pay, even those that don't. So that's that. I'm rambling now, but I'm quite good at rambling. Those will tell you that I know. He talks a lot. He does talk a lot. Sometimes he waffles and waffles and waffles. But then there you go. But this is about, okay, so there's that. So that's why I'm doing this. So it's about me. It's about me just airing my fairing and getting it all off my chest, because don't get me wrong, everything's confidential that we talk about clients, don't get me wrong. But there's things that go on in life that piss me off. Like this is my sort of therapy. So this is what it is. It's like this, the Applewotzit therapy session. And sometimes it can be quite entertaining, and you've got to laugh. You have to laugh in life, because some of the scenarios we face are mind-boggling. No, like logically, they just don't comprehend. And sometimes when you sit back and you're like, what? How did that work? What happened there? And that's the thing. I can't do any of these things without even talking about sort of family courts and family law and that sort of thing. So that there, I work with people who, this is a whole new world to them. I mean, it's a whole new world to everyone who doesn't, who doesn't know what that world is like. You don't know what that world is like until you don't know any world is like until you have to go and live in that world, do you? So when you come into that world, and whether it be in private law or public law, child maintenance service, but we can say that, but it's DVLA, it's a tax office, it's any government-run initiative, any government-run establishment. It's like talking to lemons. Do you know what I mean? It's like literally that. It's like talking to lemons. And I'm speaking from experience from like signing on not signing on. I've never signed on, but Universal Credit is signing on. So I have signed on previously in the past or not, because you deal with them sort of people. It's enough to bring you down. It's enough to make you want to they treat you like scum, so you behave like scum. I'm a bit guilty of that, unfortunately. I'm a bit guilty. In fact, very guilty of that with the DWP. But that's because they're a bunch of wankers, and they talk to me like I'm an idiot, and I don't deserve to be spoken to that way. So I kill them with kindness. Don't get me wrong. I still kill them with kindness, but apparently I talk too much. I can't see why talking too much is a problem, especially when I'm being nice and giving love. Might be a little bit sarcastic on occasions, or say it's not my fault you work for a boring company and whatnot. Might fit that in there, but it's always done with a smile on my face. And I'm not having to go at you, mate. I'm not having to go at you. It's just a situation. Just a bit frustrating. Traveling 2 hours to meet someone who doesn't turn up for the second meeting. It's fine. I mean, if I was paying for that service, which I effectively have been because I pay my taxes. Anyway, I digress. Get back on the subject, family law. So, so anyone who comes into this world is like, when I first come into it, you don't know. You don't know. I mean, and I get it, and I speak to lots of people who are in different situations, and I think when you deal with a lot of the same thing, and we're individuals, and we scout out. I do. I don't know. Subconsciously, it's not a conscious choice, but it seems to be that like 80% of what I do are all similar sort of cases, and that's because I think, and I was saying this to someone the other day, that's because I think I'm lucky I had that part of my time with Lila. So that's like between 1 and 7. I mean, it wasn't really 7 when when everything happened, but it was. I think she was. What was she? About 4.5, 5 years old, something like that. I think she was. But we'd had like a solid 3 solid years. It was just like fucking me and her, like. And off the back of that, the bond that we built up was enough to get through what we had to go through until she got to an age where she's got, where she's now, which is not a bad place based on what she's had to go through with her mum and me, to be honest. Let's be honest. And I think anyone who who's got, I deal with people who are fucking brilliant, and I admire them. Like, I'm working with them, they're asking me for advice on family courts, and I'm like, if I was even half as good of a sensible as person as what you are in terms of parenting and how you're dealing with your emotions and everything, like now I'm fine, but when back then, geez, God. But then I suppose at the same point, without defending myself, because I don't need defending, I think, how can it be like contrasting? I mean, I say to people, it's because it's how you've been brought up. It's because you've been, people are questioning themselves and beating themselves up, and they're hurting. They're hurting, yeah. Because I don't know how that much hurting, because I've been there. I live it. We're there, yeah. And I think how can you put it? You don't know you've got through it until you got through it. Does that make sense? Because it was only when I started doing like multiple like cases and whatnot at the same time that I started realizing that and I stopped, and I was like, oh, what is it that, like, it was redundant. I was going to take redundant, that was what it was. And I had to, like, think about my life, and I thought about, I say this a lot to people, I thought about a lot about, like, how I've not, like, mistakes I made, lessons you've learned, like, from a child, and it was the first time ever that I stood still and thought about my life, and stood still and wasn't working, wasn't doing anything, and it was like, I've been a dick in some places. I've been a proper dickhead, and none more so than when I was going through probably family court, because I was being led, and that's why it's important to me that we're totally different to Fathers for Justice, because we're not. I've learned how not to be, yeah, because I've learned how you can lose everything because the power is in with the people who you are interacting with. So there's no joys or no pleasure in fighting against the system. It's about learning about yourself at the same time, and understanding about yourself, and knowing what's right and wrong, and taking responsibility, and being stronger and bigger afterwards, because no one's perfect. No one's perfect. No one. And I think the hardest part of any of that, and I know there's going to be people on, like, there's females, I mean, I even I'm helping mums and whatever, and there's some that I help, and people give me abuse afterwards when they see me helping them, and then you get loads of abuse from their mates or whatever, because they know that your title is Father's Rights UK or whatever. And the title is the title. The title is the title because that's what the title was. Yeah, and it's out of principle that it stays the same, because I know Carphone Warehouse doesn't exist anymore, but you don't change your name. You don't change your name just out of principle. You know, Tesco, Tesco's, Virgin. You don't change it. Same as Applewotzit. I think there was this HR bird that when I was working in. I should say she's a friend, but she was working in Free Mobile. And she was like, oh, obviously, I don't know why HR were always talking about me when I was at 3. I don't have no idea why they were constantly on my back, but they were backing me and supporting me at the same time. They were by far the best business that I've worked for. Carphone used to be, but then they lost it. But 3 Mobile were by far the best. And the people that were there at the time, that moment in time when we were making it fucking brilliant. And I've been there a few times with that. Like with Carphone, I was there, like, at the time when it was just all fucking, everything was brilliant. The right team, right people doing everything. And even at 3, we had the right people, everything was just, like, in place. It was all perfect. Everyone was tickety-boo, and it was like, everyone was being successful and everyone was being all cool. But there's people who didn't like that, obviously. People still wanted to pull you down. And that's why I learned at Carphone, there's no point in being number one, no point in being the best at anything. No point. Because even when you're the best, people want to pull you down. Even when you're, like, you know, if you just similar somewhere in the middle, I couldn't do that there. I still couldn't do that. At 3, it wasn't in my nature. I couldn't do it. Even if I was trying not to do it, and I was still actually doing quite well. But I couldn't go back there. I couldn't go back and do anything like that. Yeah, in any corporate business, because I don't do. Working for me, I can't do what I want. I've got people. This is why I'm conscious of doing a live now, because there's gonna be people watching this who will be like, "Oh, you should be doing this, you should be doing that." No, it's about, but someone, you know, I need to do what makes me happy too. So I've got a fresh mind. Otherwise, if I don't get my words out or my thoughts out, it gets clogged up in there, and then I won't be able to go do different people's stuff and different people's things, and then get into the zone and make sure I'm writing what I need to write and doing what I need to do and remembering what I need to remember, and making sure that everyone is as good as they can be given the circumstances of what they're going through. Because I think what some people are going through right now, I know there's people who I'm working with. I've been working with for 3 years now, and you know, they've gone away and come back, and they've tolerated a lot, and you've got to have, like, patience of a saint. Some of these people are brilliant. So you're all amazing. Just remember that, how much you are tolerating, and how you are. That in itself is abuse, because you can't even be who you want to be, because you're fearful of being misinterpreted or misquoted, and that's abuse that's put you there as well. Yeah, it's put you in the place of, like, you don't know if you can allow to parent, if you're even allowed to have a say, because you question how your own integrity, you question yourself, and you shouldn't, because you've always got the best interest of the child. Everyone that I'm working with, that I know, has always got the best interest of the child. And in some cases, Lila made this dude, what's it, like a little TikTok, and she sent it to me on Messenger. And she's got this habit of just literally turning up when I need to see her stuff, just when I need to see something just to know. And she does it all the time. It's like we're telepathic. And that's a beautiful thing in itself. Yeah, and that's a beautiful thing in itself, because we have got that sort of telepathy that she knows, we know, and she just does it. And it's like, that's a beautiful thing. But then about 3 people messaged me, it's like, you gave your daughter when she was that age. No, man, come on. It's a photo. It's like, I was young and naive. Absolutely. Funny though, it was at the time. People going to criticize me for it now. But then I was like, it was funny. The can was closed. And I've probably been told not to do it, and that's probably why I did it. To be honest with you, I was probably told, "Don't do that, Jason." Probably one of Lindsay's family were probably like, "Don't do that, Jason. Don't do that." And I was probably like, "Oh, for fuck's sakes, tell me not to do something again. Don't do that. Don't do this." Okay, I'm gonna do it. So same as when it was like, when your babies are really small. I'm not saying anyone should do this, because it could get into disaster. But when the babies are small, and you throw them up in the air, and then you catch them, and you throw them up, and then you can't catch them. I used to do that with Lila all the time. And she went up there quite high, like on a few occasions. Got stuck in a tree once. I had to get her back down. Got the ladder out and everything, but it's fine. Either way, we've got loads of people in the back going, "Don't do this, don't do that, don't do." And it's like, come on, I know what I'm. I used to be. We're living like in a cotton world, like cotton wool world, and this is what I'm grateful for as well. So if I look back at my life, you can look back and go, "Oh shit, it's my brothers do this." I don't speak to them, any of them, but this is what they do, right? Life owes them something, apparently, right? Life owes us nothing. Life owes us nothing, right? Well, this is my brother's thinking this. Life owes them something, and because it's owed them something, they can't go out. They want to blame life for the parents that the fucking shit upbringing, whatever. They want to blame it. There's always an excuse. There's always a reason. There's always why. The reality is, they use it as an excuse. You use that as an excuse. And now we're leading on to a part, I suppose, where we're talking about the limiting of the brain and stuff, right? Because I learned when I was young, like we weren't well off at all, but then no one was, yeah. But then obviously people seemed to be. We just whatever. But why would you blame your surroundings? Why would you say, "Oh, I didn't do this, didn't achieve that because of this, didn't achieve that because of this reason, didn't that because it was that person's fault"? That's never the case. That is never the case. It's never someone else's fault. It's always like the responsibility of achieving things and having your own goals sits with you. It's what you achieve. It's what you accept as your normal. It's what you want to. It's what you find acceptable. So I don't go into things. We don't go into cases. This is why we laugh. We don't go into cases, right? And this is God's truth. I don't go into things thinking we're going to win. I know we're going to win. I don't think we're going to win. It's weird. You've got to have your belief in yourself. You've got to know what you're doing, and you're doing it for the right reasons. And as long as you've got the truth that in your corner, and you know what you're doing, and you're not being brash, and you're not being arrogant, but you've got the truth. And I know what I'm standing here talking about, and I will stand here saying the same what I'm saying. And you can do what you want, go where you like, and say what you want. And I'm still going to take this. It's funny because people I don't know. There's lots of people who like to slag people off and slag me off. Let's talk about me. So the people who slag people off. I've got so many haters. It is unbelievable. Yeah, unbelievable. I value that because I appreciate their honesty. I value that honesty. I wish they would talk about truth and understand me before trying to get everyone to understand them. Because there's a thing about seeking to be understood before seeking to understand before being understood. Yeah, so you need to understand other people's perspectives and how their land lies before you can go and preach anything on that. And what I don't do is preach anything on anyone. I put a comment on a Facebook thing the other day, and I wasn't doing it in any sort of. I think people think I'm being sarcastic. I'm not. They were slagging me off a few weeks ago, and I'm like, if you need help, give me a shout. I don't care. if you're slagging off, if you need help, I'm going to help you. I'm not going to hold like grudges. I'm not going to hold like vendettas. I'm not going to hold. Someone needs help. Someone could have fucking tried beating this shit. Someone could have gone with me for a knife, whatever. One week, call me a wanker, going for a knife, and then I see them needing some help. I'm still going to help that person. And I think that's difficult because taking that sort of it's difficult. I know it's difficult. I got funny earlier tonight with something. Get funny. I told him to tell me off afterwards because I did some reflecting. I was like, oh fuck, I got a bit sensitive about something that I'm sensitive about, and that's my. I suppose it's a lot of things, but I'm not going to declare what it is because it's childish. But anyway, that's one of my downfalls. That's one of my things that I'm rubbish at, and I'm like, and then I say something. I'm saying something, and it's normally always about the same sort of thing, and I'm like, I shouldn't have fucking said that. That's everyone to that because it might not help me, but it's going to help someone else. And to be in that mindset and always try and think like that is fucking hard because it's been. I've drummed it into myself. I'm not being funny. I've drummed it into me because I was lucky. I suppose this is why I'm fortunate compared to my brothers as well. I'd moved out of my home like fucking way young, and I met people that were able to guide me more than what my parents were. But then you learn a lot. You learn a lot along the way, and being wrapped up in cotton wool doesn't teach you nothing. Doesn't teach you nothing. Making mistakes and learning lessons is what teaches you, and you can make the same mistake so many times. It's unbelievable. Yeah, like it's when you actually decide that you've had enough of being like that. Like literally now. Do you know what it? Like when I had like a corner shop nearly anywhere I wanted, and when I was in my last place, it was one directly below me. Funny enough, and when I was there, like I didn't want beer. Didn't need to drink beer, but the shop was there, so it's just a habit. So I better get some beer. Every time I go in the shop, better get some beer. I would drink the beer because it was there, but then I started doing this, and I started doing obviously this like for the last couple of years, and it's like you adapt to what you're around, and you're naturally going to do because the stars and the moons, and everyone thinks I'm crazy when I say this shit. Everyone thinks I'm crazy, right? Stars and the moons. Everyone's like, Jason, you're late. I'm not late. Jason, you're this. No, I'm not. Yeah, I am. No. Yeah, I am. But it's happening for a reason. Don't be upset. I used to get so upset with taxi drivers, man, for being late or getting stuck in traffic. Now it's like, well, stuck in traffic. It's happening for a reason. It's happening for a reason. I think that in itself is where people need to, and it's difficult. Everything I say is much easier said than done, but I'm doing it daily, very daily, and I live it like it, and it's nothing stresses you out anymore. Someone can come up, nothing. I'm sure there's stuff that would hurt me, and I'd react, and I'm going to react, and it's going to be, but getting through the change curve and accepting emotions and accepting where your brain is at and accepting how your brain works is really, really powerful. So when you know that you're having a bad time and you're having a bad day, you can't stay down there. It's like when the shares drop. Like if you invest in, and I'm learning about this stuff now. So when you invest in, right, you don't want to move things around. I know that people do work like that, but you don't want to be moving this from there. That's too much hard work. It's too much hard work. You just want to put money into one place, and when that goes, it's going to go up. It's going to go down, but it's always going to go there or thereabouts. Yeah, and there's going to be a point. There's going to be a point where it does crash, and you need to try and time it right. This is what I'm learning so far. Ultimately, if you leave it in the same, even when it does crash, it's going to come back up again. It may not be that next 5 years, it's going to come back up. And so you stay. You just be patient, because everything happens for a reason. So you take that approach with like I don't know, life, and everything. Even when things are going wrong, it's happening for a reason. And I say it to people, and they're like, "Is that what you fucking?" I feel like sometimes I say it, and I'm like, "Oh, I shouldn't be saying that." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. It's happening for a reason." Well, I'm not seeing my kid because it's happening for a reason. Yeah, it's happening for a reason. It's because your fucking ex is a fucking psycho. I don't say this obviously, but we know it. It's because your ex is a psycho fucking crazy person, and we know that. Yeah, withholding your kid. This is what does my head in more than anything else. Yeah, this is what does my head in. We know now, and there's more than enough data that shows what parental alienation does to people, right? It does to kids. We know that. We know. Any parent that says that they love their children and they're there to protect their children. Yeah, the same sentence and same breath almost. You're saying you're not going to let your kid see the non-residing parent based on your own personal views on what is safe and not safe. Yeah, everything would be safe if it's in a contact centre, supported, or even unsupported, or with a family member of the other parties that is trusted, like a mum or aunt or nephew. Yeah, they'd much rather say, and this is not gender specific. This is what happens always. I've dealt with it this week with a mum who's on the receiving end of it, and it's a dad who's been like, no, but you're taking it on your own. Your child's like 2 years old, 3 years old, 8 years old, 8 months old. It didn't pick up the phone and say, "All right, Ma, how you doing, Ma?" Like that's like what's his name out of Big EastEnders, what's her name? Dot died the other week, didn't she? All right, Ma, it's only me. But I can't remember his name now. I can't remember his name. The baby's not going to phone you up like, all right, Ma, yeah, so about this, I don't really want to go, as I think it's a bit dangerous for me to go see my dad in a supported contact centre. Or daughter's going, all right, Ma, don't really think it's my dad, so in case of being fair, I don't think it's right that I go and see Mum this weekend. No kid who's at 2 months old or 8 months old or whatever that age is, that's below 7, as far as I'm concerned, below 7. Because if you've separated and your kids are below 7, that's really, for me, that's you both have got a duty of care to that child to make sure when it's safe to do so, providing it's safe to do so. And now I know that there's going to be extremities when it's not safe, and I get it, and I can accept that, and I respect that. But in what I'm dealing with, and when you're going to court and you're getting non-molestation orders out on emotional and psychological abuse, and I get it. There's a spectrum, and I get it. There's a severity and there's a non-severity, and but when you blatantly and I respect. You know what? I respect the courts. I respect the court so much that it's unbelievable, because I just do think that they spot the shit. There's always going to be exceptions in that. There's always going to be exceptions. Always. Yeah, those exceptions being same as when you go to one McDonald's, you might get like a really nice hot burger all the time, every time. Go to another McDonald's on the same high street, you might get a pubic hair in your burger and a nice cold fucking burger as well. But then that's not going to be the whole brand of McDonald's. It's not going to be all of them, is it? It's going to be that McDonald's and a specific one because of the people that are in it. You're going to get rogue police officers. You're going to get rogue social services, social workers. You're going to get rogue everything. You even got that, even as far as retail, everywhere you go, everything in life you're going to get good and you're going to get bad. Yeah, you've got to go into these things expecting to have the good, expecting knowing that you're going to have the good. And then, because if you expect the bad, then you're going to make bad things happen because you're putting resistance into it. It's about your mind. It's about your mind. And everyone thinks I'm crazy, but it's not. I'm not crazy. I'm not. I'm speaking from factual experience, personal experience, where I used to hate, and I still do hate, October through to January. I hate it. I hate these months of the year. I hate them. Mainly because, and I'm aware of it now, mainly because my parents separated around my birthday, or shortly after my birthday. That ruined that time of year. Until Lila was born, I used to fucking hate this. Hate it. And then bad things used to happen to me always around that time of year because I was giving off negative vibes. Proper negative vibes, so negative things are happening. I don't like that time of year anymore. I still don't like that time of year. But I don't expect bad things to happen, and I don't make my own luck. I don't make my own luck. I value the bad things that happen, and I'm thinking, what can I learn from it? There's going to be some good in here somewhere. And everyone again thinks I'm a fucking crazy lunatic for saying that, or thinking that way, or being that way. But genuinely, you will do more if you go into shit situations trying to find some good in there. That's not crazy, is it? I just think it's the way of life. I think it's, there's good in everything. There's got to be. Even when you can't see it. And even when you can't see it, right? You've got to start planning for. If you can't see it, then fucking start making good out of bad. So what can you do to make it good? Now, there's situations out there that I would not like to be in. You know, and by rights, if people knew actually me properly, and there's things that no one knows about me, apart from the people that know those things about that's happened, and there's down when I was down in on the south coast in Chichester, I've done, there's there's all sorts of stuff that goes on in life that you can do nothing about because it's taken out of your control and it's taken out of your hands because that whatever person doesn't want anything. There's all sorts of shit, all sorts. But you can't get beat up by it. You can't. Everyone's you're so positive. No, I just don't fucking dwell on the bad shit. Or was it something Gary Vee says? Well, if you spend, we all get so consumed, and he's right. We get so consumed with all negative, right? And because negative, bad headlines, it sells. Bad things, people listen. It spreads like wildfire. You get people, the odd person like me, and there's others out there, I know, that try and be positive, to try and remain positive and be positive and keep doing positivity, even in the face of fucking everyone slagging you off and slagging you down. And the reason they're doing that is because they can't do what you're trying to do, because to do what you're trying to do, or what I'm trying to do, is very difficult, very difficult. I find myself in situations I'm in them and I'm like, take myself out of that. Take yourself out of it. But you have to. And then you have to take responsibility for it. Oh shit! I was messaging someone on Facebook a few weeks ago, and I thought, remove that post for this reason, whatever. And I don't want to get caught in saying, this person spoke about this person, Jason spoke about you, and said this about you. Anything I've got to say about anyone, anything I've got to say about anyone, or doing about anything, I will go. Anything I've said on a live ever, I'll quite comfortably, quite happily say it to anyone's face. I'm not disrespectful to anyone. I've got an opinion. But I've never been rude. I don't think I'm trying hard these days not to be controversial or rude or controversial. I can't help it if I am sometimes in my statements. That's just because you bring the best out of me. When the non-residing parent behaves in a certain way, and it's like I predicted. We were saying it weeks ago, and as it gets closer, they behave in the same way, and that isn't a way of that's in the child's interest. That's for sure. But then it's a certain type of. It's not all women. It's not all women, and it's a certain type of woman, and it's a certain type of man that does that, because it's not a gender thing. It's not a gender thing. But how you deal with that is more important. Yeah, how you deal with being bullied, how you deal with being abused, that's different. Yeah, and that's how battles are won and lost, in my view, because I've dealt with them in the wrong way before. I've gone and I used to call the police all the time. When I didn't get Lila, I'd recommend anyone else do the same thing in that aspect, but I'd say don't tell the police to go and do a welfare check. Just log a call and say, I've gone to get my kids from contact as per court order. I don't need you to go and collect the children. I don't need you to do a welfare check, but I just want you to log a call. I want a CAD number to say that I've logged the call and I've not got the children. That way, I'm not wasting any police time, and I'm not wasting your time, everyone else's time as well, because it's just what she's doing. They'll be more than happy to give you a CAD number, and then you've got that registered and got that logged as a non-compliance for breach of the court order. You don't have to go do a welfare check like Fathers for Justice recommend, because you're wasting police time and you're wasting people's time, and the kids don't need the police turning up on their doorstep because you've done a check on them again, because you want to make sure they're okay. With the likelihood, very much in the majority of cases, the likelihood is that they're going to be fine. The reality is, though, they've got the other parent has got a different parenting style to you, which is not as probably high as your standard is. That's the reality. But also, whoa, let's say that here. Whoa, hang on one second, rewind that. Let's not get that mistracked, with something else. Well, I'm lucky enough, right? I'm lucky enough to be working with people who and I base it. everything I do, everyone we do, I think this is everyone thing. I think, I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. But everything we do, you do it based on our own personal values. So we will end up judging people how. So you get this when you're in a relationship and she's accusing you of cheating, right, or whatever. And it's like, no, but then she's judging you on what her own standards, or he's judging you on his own standards, on his own beliefs and his own values. When I'm talking to people and they're like, you're good value for money, and I'm like, yeah, of course I'm good value for money. I know. People said to me at the end of everything, oh, you should charge more, and I'm like, I don't need to, I don't want to, and it's always been an issue. It's always been an issue with how much I don't charge, right? And I think to myself, why is that an issue? Because if I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I'm not here to fleece or whatever, why is it an issue? What? Because you devalue in the market, you're making it more difficult for everyone else. But I'm making it better for all these other people who wouldn't better afford that otherwise. And it's like, yeah, I don't know how I got onto that, but I've just gone to again for some reason somehow. I don't know. But then I don't know. We'll just go everywhere with this tonight, I think. So I've got there. So what am I talking about now? The pricing of myself. I'm fucking good pricing, but yeah, people complain about how cheap I am. I would not call myself cheap because I'm good value for money. Because I love what I do and I love helping people. That's the difference, and that's why that's the difference, and that is a difference. Because people don't do what they do for love. People don't do it for love; they do it for money. And that's the difference as well, because they wouldn't be able to do what I do, and that's what they can't do. What I do, they can't work 20 hours a day, 48 hours shifts, 56-hour shifts, 62-hour shifts. They can't do it because and still look as good as this, right? And still look as good as that, and still have a sense of humor, and still fucking get good results as well. Occasionally, might oversleep a little bit or fall asleep dribbling on himself. Occasionally, that might happen. But in all fairness, I'd say about 96%. Customer, probably about 89% customer NPS. If it was, no one wants to be 90s. No one wants to be 90s. There's always needs to be always room for improvement. Always. I think I have to challenge myself a lot more these days in terms of how what I perceive is. I just think people treating people like normal, like how I want to be treated, even when it's difficult. And even when I don't even want to entertain a certain thing or flow of belief from people, you have to accept it because that's their belief, and you can't change that because that's what their belief is, the right thing and fair and whatever. That's fucked. Penny just dropped on something else, but I was just thinking about that. But ultimately, you can't. What we do, you can't change people's perspective of what their version of normal is. Basically, can you? You can't say this is a chair you're sitting on, and you're actually sitting on a table, because that's their distorted view of reality. Because everyone else, just because everyone else calls it a chair, but really you want to call it a table. Who's right? Who's wrong? Is there right? Is there wrong? Fuck, this is deep. It's not really deep, but there's something else that I'm thinking about now with the case, and I've just said something there that's made my own penny drop, and I'm like, that's quite deep. But again, I kind of go rewind a little bit. I don't see how. I notice it. Limitations in mind. Limitations in the mind. I don't see how. And I don't see how. One step for 1 second. If everybody goes out with the intention of helping someone else, doing something nice for someone else, and just trying to be that, by the way, throughout the course, what would happen? Do you think? What would happen if everyone just try being nice to everyone else? I've found myself having conversations. Literally, I think people have noticed as well. I think people have noticed when they're talking to me. When they're talking to me and they start saying negative stuff about other people, I'll just go quiet. And I'm like, yeah, I know, yeah. I think people have started recognizing that, and I'm like, don't even, no. I just go quiet, and then the subject changes. But it's not, and it's definitely. What happens if people just did that, and they did just try and be nice to everyone, even people they didn't like? what would happen to the world? That's fucked. It would never happen. It would never happen because someone somewhere doesn't want it to happen. Because everyone needs conflict. People need conflict to satisfy them and to make sure there's, I suppose, there's money in conflict. If everyone's just getting on, and I think I learned that when I went to India. When I went to India, man, fuck me, I loved India. If there's one place I want to die, if I'm going to die, and I started doing life insurance recently, and I saw I can't die anytime soon, for the next 5 years at least, anyway. So, and when I do die, it has to be natural. Just putting it out there. So, it has to be very natural. It has to be fucking up. If I'm not paying this money, just so we're clear on this, right? I'm not paying this money into nowhere for me to die, and there's gonna be a little loophole somewhere that says I've been really honest with how I smoke and whatever, everything, really honest. And if I die in 6 years' time and it's an accident and my daughter doesn't get paid out, I'm not gonna be very impressed with this. It won't be very impressed. I'm only doing it for my daughter so she can pay for the funeral, and then what do you call it? College, whatever. Hopefully she'll won't be pregnant by that point. Hopefully she'll be, still be in her life, and she'll be at college, university, some sort of, I don't know, crazy student doing something crazy and changing the world somehow. As long as she's not pregnant, that's all that matters for me. Even if she is pregnant, it wouldn't really matter. It's a fear, though, isn't it? It's a fear. It's a fear that when you've got when you've got a child and you've got a daughter, if it was a boy, would I be fearing the same? I'd be fearing, as long as he doesn't get anyone pregnant. That leads me on to the next topic. Men, will we ever trust again? Will we ever trust again? I doubt it. I doubt it very much. Very much doubt. What do we do to trust again? How do we trust again? Is it even possible? That was the full moon. Yeah. Will I ever trust him? It's weird, right? Because you meet people and you think to yourself, oh, trust that one. And you give your trust to these people and they don't trust you back. And it's like, well, because you don't trust them. They're damaged. It's like, so you need to break that sort of, again, I've broken many chains, my own family curse chain, I think, of being like the rest of my family. And I'm not like them. Not that they're not successful, they're successful in their own right, but they are not what I perceive as being achieving or trying to, or even wanting to. They're accepting they're accepting the life they were given, rather than turning negatives into positives. I respect them for what they've achieved in life, and I hope they're happy. But that's about as nice as I can be. Not that I'm being nasty, because I'm not. But ultimately, I've not worked on bollocks off my whole life to make sure I've got Lila in my life, to make sure that no matter what's happened with my beautiful, lovely ex-partner, wife, wherever she is, if she's a machine, robot, I'm not sure, but I'm sure she's got a soul in there somewhere. And the damage that she's done to me in terms of trusting a woman, that's phenomenal. And then you got damage of the other one, who was a beautiful lady, beautiful woman, but she still, I think Lila didn't, well, the fact that Lindsay didn't like the fact that I was in a relationship, that didn't help. But either way, even separating with her wasn't that difficult. But the fact that she was banging her ex-boyfriend, the same bloke, that she was banging behind her husband's back. That's what got me. But either way, regardless, if she was in trouble, I'd still help her. Anyway, but the fact of the matter is, you put your trust in these people, and then they don't give it back. So, do I just attract? I think we must be, again, with everything in life, we attract that sort of person. Well, I know that I'm someone that wants to help people. So if I see someone damaged, I'm like, yeah, let me try and help that person. Whereas what the reality is, I shouldn't be trying to find damaged people to help, and that turns into a relationship because you misconstrued your feelings for someone you care for, rather than someone you love, a different type of love. But I don't think I'll ever love again either, to be honest with you. I don't think I ever will. I love my daughter, as that's the only thing that's the only person I really class as family, to be honest. And obviously my family, but they're not really my family. I mean, I don't even know if they're alive still, to be honest with you. I'm sure they are. I'm sure I've had a telegram or something if anything bad would have happened, or someone on Facebook would have said, oh, see Bob, yeah, he's gone. He's gone. Where's Bob gone? Oh, he's gone to heaven. Okay, fine. What would I do? What would I do? I don't think I'd do anything. Just carry on. It wouldn't mean that much. I think I'd be more upset when I learn if my granddad dies. You know, he's like invincible. He's like a fucking machine. I'm sure he's a robot. But if he ever died, that's gonna be upsetting. That's gonna be upsetting because my granddad on my mum's side, Granddad John Fraser, he's fucking good bloke. Good bloke. I wonder how many Jaffa cakes I can get in my mouth at any one time. Now there's one for you. Jaffa cakes in your mouth at any one time. I'm not going to do that right now because it's too late. I've got work to do. But I'm thinking quite a few. Yeah, I think quite a few. So I think the lesson here tonight is hopefully you're in bed tucked up nice and sleeping well. And you watch this whenever you watch it. You stumble across it whenever you need to. So I think just remember, everyone, that everything always happens the way it's supposed to happen, even when you don't want it to happen that way. I think you can be upset about things that are out of your control, that make you sad, which is natural. How long you choose to be sad for is up to you. How long you choose to wallow in your own self-pity and your bullshit, that's up to you. I think what's really important is you lick your wounds, like I do a couple of days a week. Lick your wounds and you come back. And when you come back and you still got a smile on your face and you're still giving it love, and the person who's trying to put you down is still like saying, what the fuck, this person's still moving forward. They're still smiling. They're still coming up at me. And they're still giving me love. What do I have to do to put this person down? You can't. They can't. It's impossible. Well, that's how it is for me. But that's because that's what I believe. And you have to believe in yourself because no one else will believe in you. The way that you believe in yourself, at least, anyway. That said, right, I do think that difficult childhoods make the most interesting adults. That's for sure. That's a thought. Anyway, I'm working all night, as I do, and if you're watching this at like I don't know, whatever time it might be, wherever you are in the world, or it might even be in my ears. It might be in your ears because we'll take all this nonsense that I talk about, and I put it onto a podcast, right? And this will go onto the Applewotzit podcast. This is what I'm going, and not the Father's Rights. I'm not putting the Father's Rights one because I did speak a bit about how shit the family law system is and how fucked up you fucking fucked up bollocking wankers of people who say you love your children, but then you can't let them have a relationship with their non-residing parent because you believe it's in the children's best interest, when the reality is you're using it as a bullshit excuse, and it's actually your own interest, because you're the controlling person that wants to break the person that you just married or had a child with, been with for the last how many years of your life. You just want to see them broken. And I think that there says a lot about your character, whether you be on the male side or whether you be on the female side. If that relates and that resonates with you, I hope you sleep well at night. And I wish you all the well. I wish you best. I wish you all the best in the world, because life has an awful way of like reminding you when you least expect it, just where your attitude and your negativity can lead you. And I know there's lots of people in the Father's Rights group. I don't even know if this is live in there or not, but I know there's lots of people in there that aren't probably in there just to watch what goes on, their partners and whatever. This is for you specifically. That's it. It's for you. And those that are in it and genuinely helping and genuinely being nice, I'd say thank you, and keep being nice. Just because you get bad people doesn't mean you stop being nice. Always be nice. Always. Life is cool, man. It's really cool. But you're going through what you're going through because you're supposed to go through it. Because if someone else was going through it, they probably wouldn't be able to cope, and they'd probably be dead. And that goes for everyone going through something. You're going through what you need to go through to make you who you're going to be tomorrow. You can either walk into who you're going to be tomorrow and accept your lessons that you're going to be learning, getting rid of the bad, making way for the good. Everything has a reason. Everything has a reason behind it. Every number, every shadow, everything you see, everything in your consciousness and your subconsciousness, everything has a meaning. It's whether we accept the meaning, if we take it and do something with it, and what we believe, it will achieve. That is for sure. But if you believe that you're not good enough, you won't be good enough. If you believe that you are more than good enough, then you will be good enough. It's all about what we tolerate. I could fall asleep now, but I'm not going to. I'm going to get up, I'm going to do some star jumps, and then I'm going to finish off some Jaffa cakes. Almost dribbled there. Then I'm going to get on some typing, finishing some work off. Got multiple 100 emails to respond to. It's not 100. It's not 100. It's not 100. It's not 100. Absolutely it's not 100. Absolutely it's not. But it is a few. It is a few. Get the blood going through your body again, so that wakes you up. And then on that note, I'm going to go, because that's what I've got to do. You've been such a fantastic person for staying from beginning to end and listening to this drollness and hopefully a little bit of positivity in there. But don't forget, if there's not, and you made it here until the end, hoping maybe I might speak about you in a negative fashion, or may not last the full 60 minutes. I've got 5 minutes spare still. I mean, I've still got to film for 5 minutes. And that's the thing, that's the worst thing. What can I talk about now? Other than magic mushrooms should be legal, as far as I'm concerned. It's natural, fungi. Don't get me wrong, fungi. Fungi is a fun guy. I had a sexual experience once where I was using a condom, and this is a true story. And on that, after using that condom, it was apparent that there was another person in that person before me, probably that day before, the same day or the morning of. This was the evening time when I went in there, and the next day she had all sorts of rashes, and she had a fun guy down there, and that was obviously caused from apparently my fault because I put a condom on. I beg to differ. I believe it was too many dicks in one day. I think that would be. So when anyone says to me these women are really well behaved, and they're now, the women out there now that are meant to be well behaved are like, they are worse than the men used to be. This has been building up for years, and it's been building up for years. When I was working in pubs, you could see the women were coming out. They were leaving their husbands at home, and they were coming out and they were fucking shagging, and they were shagging. Yeah. So I know. So whenever a woman says to me, "Nah, it's you men, it's you men," no, it's you women. It's you women as well. Don't get me wrong, men. Don't get me wrong. Men are just as bad. We've got our downfalls. I've got mine. I've got fucking loads. One of them being that my hair. I mean, look, everyone would be like, I think that's probably why I'm still single. My hair's too long. But then that's part of the fun of it, being single. Fucking hell, love being single. But then I don't love it either because it's a bit lonely. But then I'd rather be single than have to explain myself to everyone all the time. But then they don't have to, because if you've got a good relationship, you don't have to explain yourself from where you are and what you're doing all the time. That's one thing, that's for sure. That's one thing. Other benefits? You cook sometimes. You have someone to talk to rather than talking into a fucking computer where there may not be anyone there looking at you or even paying attention to what you're saying. But if there is, I welcome you and thank you. I don't know if you are or not. But whether you are or not, doesn't really matter. But what time is it now? Oh my God, it's 12:30. I'm still talking. But I said I was going to do it for an hour, and I've kept to an hour. So this is good for me. 2 minutes left. Still my life. That was a good 60 minutes. I think you'll agree. No one expected me to last that long, did they? Went all there and everywhere, that's for sure. And if there's anyone from Levi's, that watches this, I'm very good at wearing Levi's, and they're very good fit. Black 501s, 32, 34 leg. Yeah, just a fair amount of that. I mean, I've done that once before. Magically got a gift. I'll shout something else. Levi's, please. Can you, if you're watching, if you do watch 501, these ones, like if you watch, just watch these, wherever they are, yeah, just these Levi's, them ones, where is it? That one there. That's what you want. Them ones, right? And I'll wear them, and I'll talk about Levi's for the rest of your life, for every single anything. Not get much audience, but the podcasts do get that much audience. So there's more people that like to listen to my voice than they look at my face. I can't say that I blame them. I say fair play to you. But what can we do? I noticed you're a few seconds behind from there. So I'm going to go, because now we're down to the last 60 seconds. I hope that you enjoyed that last 60 minutes as much as what I did, talking to you, whoever you are, wherever you are in the world, listening to me moan about the crap that we have to put up with. And some of the mistakes that I make too while doing that. So, on that note, if you're an alienator, I forgive you, but let's just don't be an alienator forever. Let's do what's right for the kid. If you are a hater, I care for you too. Don't hate forever. Life's too short. It's far too short to hate. And even if you need to, if you want to hate me, still hate, and I'll still be there to help you afterwards when you need some help. When no one else will help you, I will still help you. What else is there? And if you're a lover, and if you're just being nice, keep spreading the love, keep being nice, and just don't let anyone pull you down. Don't let no one pull you down. If you're loving and if you're caring, then just keep loving and keep caring. Don't give to receive. Do it because you want to do it. And that's about it, I think, on that note. I've done my 60 minutes. And that 60 minutes is when it's quick as 60 seconds. And that's what she said. And that's what happened. It wasn't that quick. It's probably about 30 seconds. Now, peace and love. Peace and love. Peace and love. Is this the one? Lana's glove. You're all peace and lovely and lovely and lovely.